Philadelphia already has some moves in motion, as externally, Adam Schefter dropped today a major hint about a possible trade for an edge rusher, while Vic Fangio revealed his plan to fix the pass rush and cornerback problems from within. But it's actually Howie Roseman's latest practice squad move today that has everyone expecting a signing I never would have guessed. Plus, Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo, they confirmed serious internal offensive meetings over the weekend that will hopefully get the Birds back on track. From Thomas Mott, this is Thomas Mott Show. Philadelphia is still reeling from the shocking retirement of Za'Darius Smith just yesterday, resulting in an immense call for trades that Adam Schefter noted could come as early as this week. But if Howie Roseman decides against a ton of pressure to not make a move and carry on with what he has within, sounds like Vic Fangio is already working on a plan to help fill the void left at edge rusher. While Howie Roseman might be preparing to bring back a fan favorite, plus, am I actually to say that today, I think Kevin Patullo might have had his best press conference of the entire season. But before all that, as we normally do, it's your last chance to enter the Jordan Spector Art Jason Kelce giveaway, happening officially on Saturday, so drop a like and go ahead and comment Jason Kelce down below, and of course, be a subscriber, that way you have a chance to win this bad boy. Now, where to start? Let's go with Za'Darius Smith, as Vic Fangio took to the stand early Tuesday to give his rendition of how the news hit his desk that his leading sacker on the outside was officially hanging up his cleats.
No, I didn't. I was surprised when Howie came in and told me yesterday, I guess it was. But you always respect the guy's decisions, personal decisions, and guy had a great career. Did fine when he was here with us. You know, he's good to be around, and wish him the best. Takes strength to do that, and respect it.
And of course, Vic is right. Wish him the best. Never know what he's going through internally. Don't need to worry about that as a whole. He's gone. Now the question is, how do you fill the gap and the hole left by Za'Darius Smith? Do you do it internally or do you go externally? Well, Vic answered, honestly, both of those questions by first pointing to the internal promotions, but also confirming that any outside help would definitely be a good thing.
We'll have to absorb those snaps up with the rest of the guys, and we'll make it work.
Is that a position where you think you need more?
Well, I think you always want more at any position. We have guys in the building that could fulfill it.
And the names discussed yesterday still apply here today, with big price tag options such as Trey Hendrickson and Bradley Chubb are, of course, everybody's top two favorites, while cheaper, less well-known names like Arden Key and Jalen Phillips present the bargain budget options. But a new name has officially entered the chat on Tuesday, and current 0-6 New York Giant Jermaine Johnson. Johnson, of course, is just 26 years old. While he's coming off an injury in 2024, he did register 7.5 sacks back in 2023. And right now, he fits the mold Philadelphia is looking for, but the age and production are going to demand a hefty price, which makes me wonder if a name like, say, Jihaad Campbell could be thrown into the pot to help sweeten the deal. All these names, of course, Hendrickson, Johnson, Chubb, Key, are just speculation right now because there's no actual reporting saying Philadelphia wants Trey Hendrickson. They probably do, but is Philadelphia calling about Trey Hendrickson or Johnson or Chubb? The answer is no. However, Adam Schefter did say just the other day that he's expecting trades to start happening this week, and Philadelphia could be one of those names.
And last year, leading up to the trade deadline, there were 18 trades in the month of October leading up to the deadline. The deadline is Tuesday, November 4th, 3 weeks from tomorrow. So, again, I don't know of any trade right now that's close. We'll have to check in, but I would think that there will be trades that are made this week because there were last week.
Of course, one move we know for sure will not be happening, however, is the return of Brandon Graham, which might seem obvious to you and me, but trust me, there are a lot of people on Twitter begging for 55 to come back. And while that dream is ridiculous, it does sound fun, but it instantly died today when Vic Fangio gave an answer to the exact question.
Has Brandon Graham been discussed as a possibility to come back?
Not to my knowledge.
Right now, all Vic Fangio can do is wait for Howie Roseman to make a trade, and in the meantime, make internal adjustments. He's the defensive coordinator. He's the defensive genius. Go ahead and figure out how to generate pressure by any means necessary, and that includes making some internal moves that he hinted at during his press conference today. Philadelphia technically has an unused, legit edge rusher on defense, at least a legit college edge rusher in rookie Jihaad Campbell. But Vic and company have tried to keep him at inside linebacker, in part because he's shown so much talent and promise. However, when asked today if Nakobe Dean's return could result in a more specific edge rusher snap package for Campbell, Vic Fangio officially did not say no.
Is it possible Jihaad could get some edge snaps?
It's possible. He's been getting edge snaps, in certain ways we align.
Nakobe, as far as potentially, does that, if he's healthy, if he's ready to go, does that make it a little bit easier to give Jihaad and even Zach some snaps on the edge?
It does.
And I've said all along, I want Jihaad Campbell to stay at inside linebacker because his progress and growth there has been incredible, and the more reps he gets, the better he's going to get. But if you're sitting here waiting 3-4 more weeks until Nolan Smith returns, they might need to get a little desperate, and that would include put Dean back at inside linebacker for certain packages, maybe on third down, and officially move Jihaad Campbell to the edge rusher spot to go ahead and get after the quarterback. Also, want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of this video, Averon Active. Right now, my wife and I are less than 1 month away, which is crazy, from baby number 1. While she's been very busy getting the nursery ready, I personally have been prepping for life without my usual morning gym workouts. An Averon Strong Rower that they just sent me has been an absolute game changer. First off, the rower itself, it is easily the most comfortable one I've ever tried, like way more comfortable than the one at the gym. The seat and foot pads, they adjust super easy, and it's low impact, but still hits 86% of your muscles. And the resistance, trust me here, goes up high enough that I can actually use it for strength workouts as well. Score 1 for my home workouts because I'm going to do a lot of these whenever the baby comes. Plus, the design, it's compact and stands up for storage, which is a big deal for me because my garage is not exactly full of space. And easily, the best part is there's a ton of variety, so you never get bored. Some days I'll hop into a coach class, other times I'll race through one of their scenic worlds, or even compete against my past times with their time machine feature. Keeps me engaged instead of just simply sitting there rowing, zoning out. And the community side is really fun. Like you can race against your friends, you can jump into group workouts, and always climb the leaderboard for a little friendly competition. Oh, and Averon doesn't just stop at the rower. They also have a gamified treadmill and a bike if you want to switch things up. And right now, Averon is having their best prices of the year, and they're giving you an additional $50 off all of their products when you use my promo code MOTT50. So check the link down below in my description box. Scan the QR code somewhere over here. Check out Averon, pick up a rower, a bike, a treadmill, whatever you want. I'm loving it. I'm going to love it even more when the baby comes, and I think you guys will as well. Time will tell if Vic actually does this. Again, he just hinted at it, but I do think it's a serious possibility, and really, what other options does he have, at least internally? Now, moving on to the other big move, at least confirmed today by Vic Fangio, and that is his current decision at cornerback in the wake of a pretty rough performance by Kelee Ringo and Audric Jackson last Thursday night. Fangio first confirmed no update yet on Quinyon Mitchell's status. That will come tomorrow after practice. It's going to be a big one. But he did say that Audric Jackson is going to be the starter this weekend versus the Vikings.
What's your concern level over the quarterback spot right now?
Well, we've got to settle in and find somebody out there that we can rely on. And I think we have the guys that can do that. We just got to get them playing better.
Why do you think Kelee struggled against the Giants? What did you see?
He just got beat, down the field.
And with that in-game change, either of them, which are you going with at this point, Adoree or Kelee?
Right now probably would be Adoree, the way we were going to do it in the game. And then when Q went down, we played them both.
And this is the right call. Like, as much as I wanted Kelee Ringo and believed in him and his first start 3 weeks ago, it's slowly gone downhill, and you cannot start him after he got carved up by Wan'Dale Robinson when you play Justin Jefferson this weekend, right? If this was any other receiving core with, some lesser-known guys, maybe, but not Justin Jefferson. Kelee Ringo to the bench. Audric Jackson will start, unless, of course, then there's no Quinyon Mitchell this weekend, and then Keelee's right back in the starting lineup. Now, moving on to actual moves made by Howie and the Birds today, and cannot believe I'm bringing this up, but technically, Philadelphia released running back Audric Estime from their practice squad on Tuesday. Not a big deal, right? Well, technically, that does mean the Birds have a practice squad opening, and guess who was also just released today from the Baltimore Ravens practice squad? You guessed it, it's CJ Gardner-Johnson. And when I tell you that everybody on Twitter wants CJ Gardner-Johnson back on the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm not exaggerating. Everybody wants Philadelphia to make this signing, yet here I am. I guess I'm the only one who does not want Gardner-Johnson back. By now, you guys know my stance on CJ Gardner-Johnson. Great player, clearly influential in making 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, but also a locker room issue. And if you were told what I was told many weeks ago, you would fully understand why he's now been cut by 3 teams just this season alone. Of course, don't get me wrong though, the argument to actually bring him back just as a player, it's totally fair. He's a physical presence that could help restore the nasty 2024 style of defense that recently has gone rather soft the past 2 weeks. Of course, B, he has good cover skills and could either take over for the struggling rookie Drew Nakobe at safety or slide into the slot if the Birds want to move Cooper DeJean full-time outside. Again, from a player perspective, this makes a ton of sense, and I would be all over Gardner-Johnson coming back. And maybe by the time you watch this, Philadelphia has made the move and they've signed Gardner-Johnson back, and in that case, here's my take. If you can go ahead and put aside all the locker room issues and just give me the normal on-the-field CJ Gardner-Johnson, I'm all in. Sounds fine, he'll be cheap. Sign to the practice squad, you can elevate him, you can cut him if there's problems, but If you can't guarantee me that there's not going to be any more locker room problems, then I'm not interested. And that's my whole problem here. He continues to be released by team after team after team, and he's still a very good player, especially now, he's extremely cheap. Of course, if the Birds weren't desperate, like they possibly are right now, this wouldn't even be an option. But if the Birds are desperate, as I just said, then I guess why not? We'll see if they actually make this move. The worst that can happen, as I said again, you can simply just cut him for, the 4th or 5th time? But if they are truly at a point where CJ Gardner-Johnson is their best option, maybe the defense is in worse shape than we thought. Now, every conversation in Philadelphia this week has been about whether or not the current iteration of the Eagles is heading down the 2023 epic collapse path or the 2024 post-bye-week resurgence. And one thing that everybody internally has said really helped the 2024 squad was the Week 5 bye, following the blowout loss to the Bucs. Jermaine Johnson and Jordan Mailata went to Kellen Moore and reportedly demanded an offensive scheme shift that turned the Birds into the juggernaut that they were the rest of the way, leaving many to wonder if the Birds' current mini-bye, following their second straight ugly loss last Thursday versus the Giants, result in a similar internal call to action to quickly right the ship. While there's been no official reports, at least leaked as of now, head coach Nick Sirianni confirmed on Monday there was a lot of behind-the-scenes, closed-door soul-searching over the extended break to try and help figure things out.
Yeah, again, this weekend was about, to look through our, everything like we would on a bye week. We feel like we've had a good process to go through on that, so we were able to do some of that, not necessarily all of it. But also it was important that guys got away and had some time away as well. Won't ever get into any conversations that I have with the guys, but I always value those conversations that we have together. And that's what I believe that we have as a team that is looking for solutions and not assigning blame. And that's huge to be able to have that. And so because when you're worried about blaming someone, then you're not going to get better yourself because you're right. And so that's the mindset that this team has. And you value that, and you value that because of the leaders that you have, like Lane, like Jalen, that they're constantly working on everything they can do to get better. And that's what we're trying to do as coaches, as players, as a team.
And everything Nick Sirianni said right there sounds good. Internal soul searching, what they do well, what they do poorly, fix things up, KP talking to the offense. I love it. But there was some rumblings about a play caller change, and at least for now, that turns out to be not true. As one far-out rumor, for example, happened over the weekend when former Eagles head coach Doug Peterson was asked basically straight up if he'd come back to Philadelphia right now as an offensive consultant.
I probably would have. I probably would have considered that. I think too, though, I don't know what the protocol is for, former head coaches going back to their, place where they won a championship, right? Coach there for 5 years. If that's something that is the right thing to do.
Listen, I love Doug, and I appreciate 100% what he did in Philadelphia. But do you think Nick Sirianni has any interest in the man he replaced coming onto his staff, even in a consulting role? I think you're crazy. The distraction would be astronomical, especially to the media, and at this point in the season, unlikely to yield any serious fruit. And obviously, Doug Peterson mentioned that in the interview clip I just showed you. He gets it, and he's not coming back to Philly. Not to say outside consulting or a new voice on the offense would be bad at all. Honestly, the opposite, just not from the guy who won a Super Bowl and then was promptly fired and replaced by the current head coach. A much more likely scenario, if you wanted to change up the offensive play calling, would be to demote Kevin Patullo, at least keep him as offensive coordinator, but he doesn't call plays, and hand the play calling duties to current quarterbacks coach Scott Loeffler. We tend to forget Loeffler was a massive get, according to all reports, on Kevin Patullo's staff this offseason, in part due to his offensive play calling background all over college football, but especially his most recent tenure at Bowling Green, where Loeffler reportedly, quote, likes to build everything off the run game, lean on power concepts, and play action to manipulate defenses. Motion and misdirection aren't just window dressings in a scheme. They're tools to force defenders to declare their intentions before the snap, which honestly sounds like exactly what the Birds' stagnant and boring offense needs right now. The only problem with all of this, though, is that Nick Sirianni was asked straight up on Monday whether making a play calling change was a possibility during the mini-bye, and he promptly shut that down with one word.
Does finding solutions during this mini-bye, did that result in the decision to change offensive play calling in any way?
No.
Still, though, it's not out of the question, as Nick Sirianni historically has made quite a few changes during extended weeks off. He gave up play calling to Shane Steichen during the mini-bye week back early in 2021. And then, just 2 seasons later, stripped third down play calling from the floundering defensive coordinator Sean Desai during the bye week in 2023. But for anyone wondering, Patullo will get the same treatment, at least right now. Nick Sirianni, as I said earlier, gave an emphatic no, and also later threw his weight behind KP going forward heading into Week 7.
You got a lot of confidence in Kevin and the offensive staff, and love some of the thoughts that we have. I know you'll ask them, hey, what were some of the things you found on the bye week? They're not going to probably tell you those things either. Just, obviously it's not good for us to share that with our opponents. But a lot of confidence in there. And again, we're all about finding solutions. And that's, I saw that quote of Bill Parcells a long time ago, of finding solutions. And that's what we're in the business of.
All of this doesn't mean Kevin Patullo can never be demoted. As we just mentioned, Nick Sirianni likes to make changes during bye weeks, and we had a mini bye week this past week, but we're only 3 weeks away from the Birds' actual bye week. And heaven forbid, if the offense flounders its way to that bye 3 weeks from now, maybe you see a play caller change, maybe you don't. But as we currently stand, Sirianni is defending Kevin Patullo. Patullo sounds confident. Whether he's right or not, who knows? He's going to be the guy going forward, and we got to wait and see. Of course, speaking of Patullo, and I thought he did have some solid answers during his weekly press conference on Tuesday, specifically to what sort of internal changes he's going to make coming off this mini bye, and how he's finally going to get the offensive consistency back to a normal level.
So I think when you talk about the situational stuff and or the predictability, you just got to look at kind of where the whole context is. And I think that's what kind of the last day or so, over the weekend things, we were able to kind of look at where we were, where we are, where we want to go, and what we know, we need to kind of do to go forward. And I think it was very productive. We had a good meeting yesterday as an offensive unit, and so I think we're in a good spot working forward.
Sadly, though, we can only take Patullo at his word, because his actions have not reflected any statement uttered at these press conferences over the past 6 weeks. But at least it does sound like the Birds did some serious soul-searching over the weekend and hopefully found some fixes to their most basic problems. I do think Kevin Patullo made one very solid point today during his press conference where he basically said, look around the National Football League. Everybody is struggling to figure out their offensive identity. Sure, some teams have it more than Philadelphia, some have it less, but everybody's doing this ebb and flow right now. Look at the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football. They got absolutely torched by a Falcons offense that got blanked by the Panthers a couple weeks prior. Either way, it's not an excuse for Kevin Patullo. He has the weapons to figure this thing out, and hopefully he does very quickly, but he does make somewhat of a point that he needs maybe a little bit more time, and eventually he's going to get things rolling.
Last year we had some kind of weird things going on that we needed to work through and continue to throughout the year. I think that's a lot of teams that are in this spot right now. If you watch around the league, there's a lot of teams that are kind of still finding their way, whether it's personnel, whatever it is, and I think that's kind of where we're at, and we've got great players, and they're all into it, and the energy's high, and we know we can be what we want as we work forward.
In the end, though, it's the predictability that must change, or all the talk in the world and all the time in the world for KP is not going to matter. As this video from Brian Baldinger perfectly explained, just released today, about how predictable and how really copy and paste the Birds offense has been so far.
To say that the Eagles offense is predictable might be an understatement. Like, this is 3rd and 10 against the Giants. All right, there's Goddard going out. All right, so they're in a 2-by-2 set, okay? Now, you're going to have Goddard and Smitty running stops at 5 yards. And then AJ, all right, and Dotson are going to go vertical. All right, there they are. Now, they throw it underneath to Goddard. He catches it for 5 yards. All right, 4th and 5. All right, here he goes. Here's a 3rd and 8. The exact same motion. Here comes Goddard going out to a 2-by-2 set. Goddard and AJ, all right, we got Dotson and we got Smitty. Here's the exact same combination right here on 3rd and 8. Stops, all right, mirrored routes, all right, stops and vertical down here, stops and vertical up there, and the pass rush gets to Jalen, they get sacked. Now here we go, 3rd and 3. Here we go, 2-by-2, all right, there we are. 2 stacks, here we go, mirrored routes, exact same stops right there, Giants just sitting on top of them in 2 verticals. Mirrored routes, same concept, same play. And this time Jalen just checks it down on the outside to Saquon, and he takes a 1-yard loss.
Now, of course, despite all the trade drama and injury updates, and of course the 2-game losing streak, there are still plenty of bright spots for the 4-2 Birds heading into Week 7. First off, thanks to Jaden Daniels on Monday night, the Eagles still hold sole possession of first place in the NFC East, and currently sit right at the top of a massive group of teams with 2 losses. And honestly, this is the most wide open I have ever seen the NFC and really the NFL as a whole. There's no juggernaut number 1 elite team you could guarantee is going to be in a Super Bowl right now. There's a lot of 4-2 teams, a lot of 3-3 teams, and a lot of opportunity for Philadelphia to figure things out. dominate their division, and get back to the playoffs. And I do think all of that ties into the fact, we talked about it earlier, Howie Roseman is a lot more inclined to take a big swing at the trade deadline if the Birds are still relevant in the NFC and the NFL as a whole. As it stands right now, that's definitely the case. What also might help the Birds, and we will definitely keep an eye on the next couple of days, is the health of their next opponent in the Minnesota Vikings. As Wednesday and Thursday will be a big injury update day for the team, as JJ McCarthy is expected to have his first real practice in over 3 weeks, which is not a good sign that he plays on Sunday, as it likely indicates Carson Wentz and his sore left shoulder will start. But obviously, that's still TBD. We'll also, though, get a massive update the next couple of days on Minnesota's offensive line, as they've been without 3 of their 5 starters during this rough stretch where they've given up a ton of sacks. There's a chance all 3 could be back, but there's also reports that none of them could play on Sunday. Definitely a major news item to watch the next couple of days, especially to find out who Philadelphia is actually going to face when they go up against the team in purple on Sunday afternoon. Now, of course, plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks. As mentioned, is there going to be a trade the next couple of days? Is Philadelphia going to do nothing? Are they going to, have injury updates, hopefully on Wednesday afternoon for Quinton Mitchell and Jalen Carter? All of that will be covered here. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe. Leave your comment down below to make sure you're entered for our latest Jordan Spector art giveaway. And stay tuned, because trade deadline is 3 weeks away. Philadelphia has a chance to further ground in the NFC East, and I'm starting to trend upward, at least until the game on Sunday, and how I feel about the current state of the Birds. I'm Thomas Mott, hanging out here on a Tuesday. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.